All right, we're back again. David and Nick. I'm drinking my Founder's Cerise.
I'm gonna call it a sponsor for the first time ever in my life. One of my wife's friends came over to go swimming, and I have a Cape Line sparkling cocktail, blackberry mojito, and Cape Line sparkling cocktail, hard strawberry lemonade. So I didn't pay for them, so I officially call that a sponsorship. So big shout out to Catherine there. Thanks so much for my official first free beer on this, or free drink on this bad boy. So
Nick and I were talking the other day, and we thought we'd get back to hardcore budgeting since the $600 for the CARES Act is now officially expired, and if there is any relief coming, it probably will be much, much less than that original $600 was. And we've run across several people who just, even now, are really just struggling to make ends meet. So we thought we'd talk about budgeting a little bit and some cheap food options. And I know Nick specifically was talking to somebody the other day who said, well, we eat healthy, so there's no way we can eat cheap. And he had some ideas for them. Why don't you talk about some ideas, Nick? Because I know they're not popular ideas, but they'll fill you up and they'll get you what you need.
Well, and that's kind of where we're at right now. We're at life is hard. We just lost. I mean, if you were making more money, good for you. If you were on unemployment making less money, now you're even making less than that, $600. I mean, we're talking, if you couldn't save. This is hardcore budgeting. So I got into a Facebook argument with somebody, and she's like, "Oh, I have a big family to feed, or and four, right, is big to her." But when we get to talking, I mean, David, you come over, right? So we eat hot dogs, right? And those are so inexpensive. I mean, yeah, you don't have to buy ballpark hot dogs, right? This is the time that we're going to Aldi, or we're going to right next to, I buy Bar S hot dogs, right? $1 a pack on sale type thing. Another example I had given was pasta, right? Pasta is very inexpensive. I made it last night for dinner, because I'm working but not working, trying, kind of in between jobs type of a thing right now. But so pasta, I made it last night. It's $1 a box for spaghetti. Let's say with let's say $1.50 if I happen to buy it at Family Fare. Spartan brands for everybody, and $2 for a can of sauce, right? You don't have to have meat in it. I grew up with meat in only half of my spaghettis. I mean, if we had the extra $2, we put it in there. If we didn't, fine. But right, so 1 pound, 1 pound, divide that out. The sauce will cover plenty of it, and you do the math. Divide it by six portions, right? And you're at 50. It's just less than. I think it's 58 cents a serving, right? So you fed 6 people for 60 cents a piece on that, right? So this isn't a time where we're going out and getting garlic cheese bread. I mean, you're gonna take that bread that you have in the cupboard. I mean, we used to joke all the time when we were younger. We were hood rich when we had a piece of bread, and we put some butter or some garlic on it. I mean, and then you bake it that way. And then her complaint was to me, there's dietary restrictions and you got to eat healthy. And I said, okay, because I get this all the time. Granted, I am not a healthy guy, right? I'm a big guy. You guys can see this. So this is one thing I try to fight with people all the time. Look. Get out there. Exercising is free. Granted, I don't do it. But right. So then we go to, I've gone to a lot of fancy restaurants in my life. I just went to one in South Dakota. Crap you not. They give me a sixth of a head of lettuce, right? An iceberg lettuce, a sixth, right? And they call it fancy. And so I told her, I was like, look, take that head of lettuce, cut it into 6, right? And that costs you $1.50 at most. We're back to that same budget. And a bottle of light dressing of because you want to stay healthy. I said, or right at times when I try to eat healthy, I'll take lemon, which I mean those cost 25 cents a piece, 30 cents a piece. take lemon, a little bit of oil, mix it all up, throw it on my salad. And right, I'm not adding, I mean, granted, if you have a garden and you were at that point to get your garden, sure. Roadside stands, right? But we're not putting the cheese on that. We're not putting all these extra vegetables on our salad. We're not putting the meat on our salad at this point, right? This is to get by eating healthy type of a thing. Yeah, you don't want to eat it every day. Nobody wants to. Nobody wants to be in a poor situation. Nobody wants to struggle. Nobody wants to do this, right? But like, this is I have to get this thing to happen. So, you know, we're at on that price, right? So that's dirt cheap. You know what? $2, you know, or so. We'll figure again. We're at the $3.50 with the bottle of dressing and the sixth of a lettuce. And again, we're at 60 cents. I mean, we're budgeting. You know, if it's a single person, you know, hey, I had a lettuce will last you all week. Keep the thing in the refrigerator, keep it wrapped up. You know, and you have 6 meals, right? I mean, that's, you know, and they're like, oh well, kids are picky. Okay, so I went on with it, and I love to have these conversations with people, but it's frustrating because they just, you know, they never want to give. And here's the time we have to give. You have 2 choices. You can make your own food, or you can buy it. So, right, get a bunch of oatmeal. Get the what is it? The chocolate powder, the cocoa powder, or whatever it is. You know, mix it up. My wife does it. I don't make it, but she makes homemade granola bars. And honestly, the cost of those things are like 20 cents a pop. And, you know, say we make them a little bit bigger. We add a scoop of peanut butter to them and make them the way we like. Bake it for a little bit. And you know, honestly, you're at like 20 cents a pop, and the kids are happy. I mean, I'm a grown kid, so I'm happy. You know, but so Cliff Bar, if you don't want to bake it, you make Cliff Bars, right? And Cliff Bars are $1 a piece. I know Meijer here a lot of times will run them buy 10, get the 11th one for free, right? So we're at 90 cents a piece. So 90 cents, and officially that could be a meal. I mean, right? We're not. Again, I got this big because I don't stop to say, hey, I eat until I'm full, right? Not until. But if I'm dying, this is what it is. And now we go to, you know, back to a little unhealthy thing. I mean, completely unhealthy things. David and I, things we absolutely love, and I think every kid loves it. Every person loves it, right? Ramen noodles, right? Ramen noodles cost 30 cents a pack. You know, I mean, 20. I don't even know anymore. I have a box sitting up top of the fridge. You can buy them at Aldi's, but you know, honestly, right? A full pack of ramen, 20 cents. A can of peas, a can of tuna, a can of corn. Heck, you know, I mean, if you mix all that together, you're having a pretty good meal. I'll eat just straight ramen. Sometimes I eat my ramen with a little soy sauce. I mean, you can use ramen noodles to make so many things. Again, this isn't healthy living, but this is living to get by, to get to that job that's going to pay you money, right? This is not where, oh, hey, I don't want my life to change, and I don't want my people to suffer. And look, nobody wants to suffer, right? This is the crap that's happening right now, people. Like, this sucks, okay? It does. I'm gonna tell you guys, like, this is how I grew up, right? So we grew up eating hot dogs, pasta. I mean, we ate 2 meals, kind of a thing, is what it really was, right? So you woke up, you had a lunch or a brunch is what we always called it, just to try to make it sound like, oh, we were doing 2 in 1. And you ate pretty big, and you went out and worked, and I pulled weeds as a kid, and I did all this and that. And then you go in and you'd eat hot dogs for dinner. I mean, right? My meals for the whole entire day, just what I would eat, would be less than, let's call it $2. I mean, you know, my grandfather now still even feeds my daughter ramen noodles. You know, she loves them, but you know, it's a time right now where we don't get to choose. You know, and I tell people, look, there's Aldi out there, right? Aldi is a cheap alternative. Yes, there are things in life that we hate to do. You know what? Doritos sometimes they'll go 2 for $4, but all the time at Aldi's, right? The nacho tortilla chips, the nacho cheese ones, I mean, they're $1.29, right? I mean, that's 70-cent savings right there. Granted, if we're in this thing and we can't afford to have them Doritos, you cut them Doritos out. But you know what? I mean, we're talking find ways to save this stuff. Again, and if you're not a prideful person like we weren't back in the day, right? I mean, we would go pick up food from there's a lot of places giving out free food, and you know you have to wait in line a little bit, and it sucks your first time. I'll be honest, right? Especially I see a lot of parents not want to bring their kids, they don't want to have it around there, but there are so many places out there that'll, you just get in line, you tell them how many people are in your family, they hand you a bag of food, and you don't get to pick, but damn, you ain't hungry, I mean, and so having these fights with people is like, I grew up, again, you either eat or your ass goes hungry, and guess what? You're going to eat, right? So, it's not a time right now to say, oh, I'm going to do this. And you know what, again, if you're on a budget and you're trying to stay healthy, you know what, I mean, I hear it all the time. People talk about these protein shakes and stuff like that. You know what? You don't have to do it with water. You can do it with milk. It tastes like crap. But if you want to get that protein in, and it's going to fill you up, I mean, mix it with water. Supposedly, you're $1.50 a serving, and that'll, so you're doing a lunch type of thing. I know going through most of what we've been through, all the schools in my area, all the schools in David's area, things like that, right? It was a no questions asked. You signed up. Anybody below the age of 18 got guaranteed. I know it was lunches. I heard some places were doing breakfast and lunch or whatever. But you go pick up a sack, and that's what it was. I mean, they fed you a cafeteria lunch. That was, and it was, you just drive up, roll down the window, grab it, and go type. So there's those things, right? Make sure your kids are eating. I know as a parent, right? I looking back, right? My dad, honestly, he never ate. He'd have like one meal a day just to make sure the kids were fed, type thing. And we always got our plate first. So, right? I know that right now is very hard for some people, and it's, I can't tell you to tell your kid no seconds, right? But if you have to feed four kids, here's the time where you explain to your kids. I mean, this is where it comes in. Hey, you don't want to be in this spot later in life. Hey, you don't want to do this. Make sure you budget. Make sure you do this. And it's not a thing that anybody wants to see anybody in. Nobody wants to watch anybody struggle. There's not and if you are a person that wants to see somebody struggle, I hope you don't watch this page. Like, get off. Like, we're here to help people in this world and make sure that they get to a better thing. So, I say tonight again, I have a free alcoholic beverage. That's what you do. You call your friends and tell them, hey, I have a pool. Bring alcohol. But that's, so it's a hot topic for me. I hope you guys can hear that. I love having. And there's always excuses, and you can make excuses or you can make actions, right? That's what I always say. And this is not easy. If you're accustomed to a lifestyle, oh man, how hard it is to change a lifestyle. It doesn't happen overnight, but sometimes, I mean, the hope is that you took some of that 600 and you were saving little bits, and there's some people with, honestly, it was a little less money than what I was making, but with all my investments or whatever, take home and stuff like that. But now, I mean, I haven't worked in gosh knows how long, and been taking unpaid time off of work and stuff like that. So it's crazy, and I'm thinking about putting in 2 weeks notice. And so, and we're having hot dogs tonight. I'll be honest with you guys. I mean, this is the third time this week probably. Granted, it's summer and I like hot dogs, so I'm pretty fortunate. But guys, this is so I know David and I, when we were talking, it was like, man, there's so many food options that are so inexpensive, and yeah, we admit they're not the healthiest options, right? But I guess if anybody's watching sees this, if you guys know of any inexpensive recipes, I can't guarantee everybody has a little garden or anything like that, so throw a recipe down below. Help everybody out knowing what's inexpensive. This is a time where I think everybody has to come together, and we don't want to eat the same thing every day. So hey, if we can get any type of list out there of inexpensive meals, we're glad to hear them.
Well, I think one of the things that, was a staple for us when we didn't have money was Dawn would get a bag of egg noodles, which it's egg noodles, $1.20 maybe.
Maybe.
A can of tuna, 59 cents. Bag of frozen corn, $1. So we're at what now? Maybe $3.50?
Yeah.
Maybe $3.70. And just cook it all up and mix it together. Throw a little Parmesan cheese on it. Parmesan cheese, very inexpensive.
Yep.
And that feed us for a couple days. And, very inexpensive. It's got enough to fill you up. It's got protein in it. Yeah, it's not something that you're sitting there going, man, I'm dying to eat that, but keeps you moving to the next day.
Yeah.
And that's really what we're looking for here is you got to keep moving to the next day. Things are tough. We got to get through it. So how can you do that and still, afford to feed your family? So you go to places like Aldi, which Aldi has gotten a lot better in the last, 4-5 years?
Yeah, I'd say it probably has been long, but it seemed, I'd say 3 years. And like, dude, the organic things that are coming out of this place, it's really stepping up their game. I do give a big shout out to them.
Well, and I know when we were dirt ass poor, we went to Save a Lot because they'd take a credit card, which I'm all for using credit cards.
Yep.
And at the time, Aldi, you couldn't use a credit card at it. It had to be a debit card or cash.
You still can't, yeah.
You can use a credit card now. They take them now.
Oh, can you? Okay. So
yep, now they do.
My wife does the shopping.
So, that's a nice bonus that they take it now. So, and at Save a Lot, they have a lot of things. Yeah, they may be close to expiration, but they're brand name stuff and non-brand name stuff. We used to get stuffing from there, tasted almost the same as Stovetop, and it was half the price or less than what Stovetop was. Yep. When I ate shrimp more often, they had some of the better frozen shrimp. My daughter and wife liked their pierogies better than name brand pierogies. They just thought they tasted better.
Yeah.
And again, at a fraction of the price of what you're paying at Meijer or Family Fare or even Walmart, and I don't shop very much at Walmart because I don't like them. But obviously, if you don't have a lot of money, that is a cheap place to buy stuff. You have to look at your budget and say, okay, I can't afford to spend money for Kellogg's Frosted Flakes anymore. I got to buy the, off-brand Frosted Flake.
Yep. And that's, brings up now, if you've raised your kids to eat Frosted Flakes and for some reason they throw a hissy fit or whatever, right? You know what? If that cereal's about to run out, we all joke about the memes that are on Facebook, right? And you got the guy who takes the off-brand Frosted Flake and then he pours it into the box of Frosted Flakes. Sometimes you gotta trick the kid to make them a little happy, type of a thing. But it's crazy the things that you can save on when you look at it, right? So I kind of want to give everybody like a little quick scenario of what this lady had posted out, right? So she had posted out it was $800 for a mortgage, $500 for car payment and insurance, $200 for utilities, $75 for credit card bill, $180 for cell phone bill, $1,000 a month for food budget, and there was one other thing in there, right? And so she's like, I can't get it down, and so instantly, right? Because we've done this, I posted all the things. I was like, first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna call and see if you can refinance your car, right? If you've built your credit up or whatever, you made your payments, chances are you're gonna be able to refi that. I said, now's the time you're gonna lower your cell phone bill. You don't need. I have unlimited data, right? I have these things, but if I can't, right now I just need to get by. I need 100 phone calls and 100 texts, right? If that month I need to upgrade for $5, right? I'm at 45 compared to the $100, right? I was like, all right, right now's the time you cut your $80 internet and cable bill. right? I'm proof that you can do that. I do it off my cell phone. So if I lower, I'm not saying that everything is just going to get cut, but I don't have cable, I don't have internet, but I have 5 lines for $180 on my cell phone. So if you can raise your cell phone up and use that as like an everything, think about that. Get rid of that. And the credit card, the same thing. I was like, we're gonna transfer that. We're gonna see if we can prolong a 0% interest for however long. No payment type thing. I was like, maybe if you're lucky, you refinance your car and you have equity in it or something, you could pay off that credit card so you don't have that payment anymore. And she's like, oh, I already did all that. And I was like, well, if you already did all that, then your original budget doesn't make any sense. I mean, if you said you've already cut it, then this top part, like so you went to basic things? No, like, again, you didn't cut internet and cable. You didn't cut your cell phone out of there, right? I'm not saying, I mean, this is when you're broke and have nothing, don't go into debt to have more nothing. I mean, go to nothing for, I don't care. I mean, I've been interviewing for jobs for the past 3 weeks, haven't really decided. I'm in a little financial difference than most people out there. So I'm being very picky on what I want. In my head, I kind of just want like free. I want somebody to be like, hey, I need a job here, kind of a thing. And but that being said, I mean, chances are you were making, less than 40K. I mean, there's 1,000 jobs out there on Indeed right now. Literally, I think 7,386 is what I've seen, and I haven't seen one less than $11 an hour. Right? So 3 weeks, whatever it is, to cut up, 1 full month, cut all this out, and you've saved yourself so much money. And again, people are going to be like, oh, well, how are they going to contact me if I don't have a cell phone? No, you have 100 phone calls or 100 whatever. I don't even know if they offer, I know the lowest plan is like $35 or whatever. I mean, heck, cancel the contract and get the prepaid for however long, and then if you get your job back, then go back and get it. But I mean, this is the point right now where, man, bare minimum. I mean, I'm talking minimum. Like, you don't need internet and cable. Why? Because, again, not all your cell phones, right? Every prepaid plan comes with at least, I think the lowest I've seen was 5 gigs. And that was like, 5 gigs will get you plenty, right? I mean, and there's no reason, I mean, especially if you have a car, there's no reason. 90% of us live by at least one Starbucks, one free hotspot place. I guarantee if you walk into a business and you go, hey, I need Wi-Fi because I'm applying for a job, they're either A, going to see that you're trying for a job and give you a job, or B, go, you know what, you're better in your life, right? And if they tell you, no, you can't use the free Wi-Fi to get a job, then guess what? I mean, they're going to lose, you're going to post it on Facebook, you're going to post it all over, and they're going to lose it. So they're going to be almost guaranteed to let you apply for a job type of a thing. Not social media, going through everything. Granted, if you're a TikTok superstar or something, you're probably getting paid from it. So, but if you're not getting paid from it, it's not the time to try to grow that thing. This is the time where we have to replace that income and get that income back up there. So to what we were.
Well, I know when we were dirt poor, cell phone was first to go. We cut it. We just didn't have one for several years because we couldn't afford it. We cut the cable package because we couldn't afford it.
Yep.
There are just several things that went by the wayside because it wasn't affordable anymore. So we had a choice of, we can pay rent and we can pay the car payment and we can pay for food, or we can have, a cell phone.
Yep.
So certain things that really are luxuries, they just went away because you have to make those tough decisions. How long do you want to be poor? And that's really the mindset you have to be in. Yeah, it sucks, but many of us have been in that position where, we were poor and we decided, okay, well, this is what has to go. And if I get rid of this, hopefully at some point I'll get back to it. I've had a cell phone again for, I don't know, probably 15 years. But I went from the early 2000s to the mid 2000s without one because I just didn't have money for it.
Sure.
You know, I probably didn't get a phone back until about 2007. And yeah, it sucks, but I was fine.
Yeah.
Found other ways.
We'll say
that's really what we're talking about here. You got to find other ways. You got to do other things.
Yep. When I had a cell phone, my mom wouldn't pay for it. She couldn't afford it, and never used credit for anything. So I commend her for that for sure. Like, she taught me lessons that I didn't know she was teaching me. We're just, but I had a prepaid phone. I think I paid $20, and it came with, it's cheaper to buy a new phone every time, but I hated getting a new number, so I stopped doing that. But they don't have the prepaid plans like they did. But it was $10, and I got 200 minutes or something like that for my $10. It was so inexpensive. But I mean, this flip phone was, everybody made fun of it because it was the poor person flip phone, and the front of the screen lit up like different colors. That was the only cool feature of it, right? Well, everybody else got like these sliding keyboard, so from like 16 when I had my license to, I think my brother bought me a phone because I added him to a plan when I got a job. And that's when I started, I think I was like 18, 19, when I got my first contract and things like that. And, he had paid for half a little bit more because it was my credit, and I always charged to use my credit. So, that's why he paid for my cell phone and stuff like that. But granted, back then, he's always been the material kind of guy. He had the i880 Nextel, and I got the black one, like the i550 or something. But, he paid for it. I didn't, so it was, but this is the time where you go back to those things. I mean, you go back to that, I do it now. I mean, I have a LG G6. Nope, sorry, I have a G8 now. It's $5 a month, which we've talked about in some episodes. I usually get the free one. This one was $5 a month. But if I bought it outright, it would have cost me $800, right? So I have to take the payment on it. I could pay it off after a month, but I have to take the payment on it for at least 1 month. So this is the time where we're getting rid of things. I mean, we're not buying. Oh, hey, we're not upgrading our phones for more money. We're downgrading if we can. iPhone trade-ins, right? We're going to trade the iPhone in. They're going to give you a big credit. You're going to go, I want the free one. I don't want this payment anymore. I don't want any of this. We're cutting everything that we can in our lives. I mean, David, I'm going to let you talk here because David and I have Sprint, and Sprint has done some things. Go ahead and tell them, David, what you're doing and how it's working.
So T-Mobile acquired Sprint, 3 months ago. So what it did was it made the T-Mobile Sprint network infinitely bigger. So now they're sharing resources instead of obviously, working against each other. So their network is probably rivals Verizon's, which means we'll get better service, we'll get better coverage, stuff like that. The thing I really like about T-Mobile taking over is T-Mobile always has these free things they do every Tuesday. So I'm a Cubs fan. I live in Michigan. Because now WGN doesn't have Cubs games anymore. I don't get to watch 130 Cubs games a year for free, or just the price of having cable, whatever. Instead, I get to watch, 30 maybe a year if they're on ESPN and Fox. So the last several years, probably since 2016, the World Series season, I've been paying for MLB.TV, which runs about $90 a month or a year for one team. So the only games I can watch are Cubs games. Well, of course, COVID has thrown wrenches into all the plans. First weekend of Major League Baseball wasn't until the end of July. They're running a deal where for one team you can pay, I think it's $35 for the season. You get 60 games. Or for the entire league, you can pay something like $60. And Nick and I talked about it. I'm like, yeah, I'm on the fence. I don't really know if I want to do that. I don't think they're going to play a full season. $35, it's a lot for me to spend right now on a maybe. 2 weekends ago, or 2 weeks ago, 2 Tuesdays ago, this always happens on Tuesday, T-Mobile came out and said, hey, listen, you get MLB.TV for free, all the teams, $60 value. I went, oh yeah, sign me up. All you had to do was go sign up. I did. So I get to watch every baseball game that I want that's not blacked out in this area for free. It's fantastic. It's a $60 value, so they're already saving me money. And they run other things, every Tuesday. I logged onto my account the other day because I got a push notification that said, hey, we're now offering free caller ID. Even if the number's not in your phone, it will pop up and tell you who it is. So I'm like, all right, that sounds good. So I get on and I opt in for that on mine, my wife's, my daughter's phone. While I'm looking, I'm like, let's see what other things they offer for free. They offer free Hulu. Well, I sign up in November every year for a cheap Hulu account, whether it's under my name, my wife's name, or my daughter's name. This year we were paying $1.99 a month. Free Hulu is better than $1.99, wouldn't you say, Nick?
That's $1.99.
So I canceled Hulu and signed up myself, Caitlin and Dawn, each for a Hulu account for free now, so we can all have our own Hulu accounts.
Yep.
So I'm saving money there. It's a nice thing that they're offering, and if they're going to offer some free stuff with it, I'm going to take it. I originally signed up with Sprint because we got a 23% discount through my job. So I'm like, all right, well, that's a good discount. I'm going to take that. I pay more than I probably should. I pay about $240 a month, but I get free everything for 4 lines. No data charges, no texting, no calls, none of that. It's all just paid for. And I'm happy with that because, then I don't have to worry about going over or anything like that. We get, certain amount of minutes of hotspot every month, things I'll never use. But it's there, so I'm happy about that. Another thing I did the other day, because, we're talking about saving money, is in Michigan, there's been a change in the auto insurance law where you can now opt out of the PIP, which is the insurance that paid for catastrophic injuries. Now, this is the reason that we've had the second highest insurance in the nation for, 30, 40 years. Opting out of that cut my bill in half. Now, it's not that I've opted totally out of it. There's just caps now on how much, if somebody's catastrophically injured, they can, the insurance company will pay.
Yeah, I think it's like 250,000 is the lowest you can go.
Correct.
And PIP is a personal injury protection.
Correct.
So, just so you guys know, I've been getting phone calls from my insurance people, so I'm going through the exact same thing right now.
Yeah, and that cut my bill in half.
Yeah.
So, and again, there are certain things you're looking at right now in your budget going, I can't live without Frosted Flakes. I can't live without, Jif peanut butter. I have to have Kraft macaroni and cheese. Yeah, you can pay for those things if you have that money, but if you don't, go try Family Fair's macaroni and cheese or Family Fair's Frosted Flakes, or even better, Aldi's Frosted Flakes.
Yeah.
Because you're going to save a whole lot of more money there. Listen, you're poor. Okay, we're not trying to sugarcoat anything. We're not trying to make you feel better about life because there's no reason to. You're poor. You have no money. Stop pretending you do. Start living poor and saving your money so that, in a couple of years, you're not poor anymore. Because that's where Nick and I are at. Because you know what? When my wife and I first got together, we became poor. And it sucked. And I hated it. And I'll never be poor again. Because I'll be damned if I let us go back to that. She gets mad at me because every time I look at something, it's based solely on money. I tie my net worth to money. If I'm not providing, I'm not worth a hell of a lot. But I'll be damned if we're poor again. And Nick, same thing?
Yeah, I mean, I'm struggling with it right now with the job loss thing. But like, again, I have enough money to where it's like, again, and your mindset always changes, right? Because when you're David and I, right, you're just, the hard part is getting over saying the words "I'm poor," right? I mean, my net worth is substantial right now, but if you ask me, I'm broke as shit, right? Like I tell everybody, I live paycheck to paycheck because I do. Once that money goes into investments, once that money goes into accounts, that money's there. That money stays there. It's never, it's for like emergency use only. Okay, now we're in emergency use. And I'm sitting here going, like, do I want to touch that money to try to make a decision? So You know, I hate it when people say you don't know what it's like, and no, like I remember what it's like, right? And that's why I don't want to be there. Like I remember what it's like to. I remember having those days where I got told no, right? And no sucked, right? And it was stupid things. Like you people don't understand. I mean, some of you do, some of you will understand, but like Friday nights was roller skating night, and it cost $5 or $3 to get in, and you get told no, we don't have the money, right? Like holy shit, like $5, you know, man. Okay, so that's where when I was a kid, it was like this sucks. Like I don't, and so being there, growing up as a kid, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna start working because I'm not gonna let this happen, right? So I'd mow a lawn, and I made sure I had $5 for every Friday out of my $15 mow job, and I have $10 to spend, and so the things that you want, and the things that you, right? So we're at that point right now where we have to be telling our kids no. I mean, I know there's so many parents out there. I'm notorious for it as well. Sometimes I'll go to the store and I'll see, you know, right now the big thing for my kid is an LOL doll, and it's $12 for a small ball. But you know, I have family members who every time their kids behave in the store, they buy them a toy or a candy or something. Not today, right? Not anymore. Like you have to tell your kids, hey, look, and how you want to handle your kids, I'm not going to tell you, right? But like you got to explain to them, hey, the economy's tough right now. We need to make tough decisions, and this is what our tough decision is. And your kid's going to go, that's not fair. And then you're going to say, hey, I'm not eating the steak I want to eat. I'm not eating this. I'm not buying the shirts every week that I want to buy. I'm not doing this. I'm not fixing, you know. So you can throw it all back into your kids depending on the age and how mature they are and where they want to be, right? Explain to them what fair is. I mean, you know, so this is a time to influence the kids. And even with my daughter, right? I mean, I'm doing it now. Like, hey, Dad, well, why can't I do this? Well, because honestly, Dad's not working and we're not going to spend the extra money right now. Oh, okay. Dad, when are you going back to work? Well, that's a decision I'm trying to make, and I want to make sure that we're going to do it. But I always remind her that if there's anything she needs in this world, needs, right? Needs, not wants. Absolutely needs, she will have. Right? Again, we've talked about me doing side jobs and anything like that. I will always do that. Um, I'm not above asking for help in in any way, but financially, if my kid needs anything, she will have that, right? There's going to be back to school supplies and things like that that are coming out. Um, I'm gonna support that and pay for it, right? It's not like I'm gonna cheap out on it. But you're damn right. I'm not. You know what? Right now, with the spot I'm at, I'm not going to buy Crayola crayons unless there's a coupon or the cheap one. Right? I'm buying the off-brand crayons. I don't care. Colored pencils and crayons, they color the damn same. Like, you know what? Growing up, my mom always let us pick out one thing that we wanted ourselves. Otherwise, everything else was a cheap thing on the damn list. You know what I'm saying? Like, so if we wanted a special pen to make us feel good, and it was like a special pen, right? So you got to spend $1 on like one pen that you would lose in a week anyway, right? Um, or if you wanted the glitter colored pencils or something, or the crayons that had glitter in them or whatever, you could buy that, or the smelly markers, So like, I remember at the end of every school year, like through high school, I think we talked about it, through high school, a lot of the seniors would always throw away all their shit because they were just done with school. So I ended up getting like graphing calculators and binders, and that's how I got all my school supplies for the for the next year. Was everybody's, and looking back at it, like I didn't have any shame. I didn't give a crap. Like people would throw away notebooks and they'd have 2 pages written in it, and all I have to do is just tear out 2 pages of paper that have writing on it, and I have, instead of 100 pages, I have 98. Nobody's gonna tell the difference. So it was. I remember that's how I always did things. So we didn't have to go buy all that crap. Right now, they say back to school shopping. My wife will buy her a couple outfits type of a thing. But my wife and I, we do a lot of shopping on Facebook garage sale or whatever it is. I'm not afraid to admit that. Like, there's a lot of people that spend a lot of money on these things for their kids to wear once. I mean, granted, my daughter's 4 and she's going into this growing stage, so a lot of things aren't even used very long, right? Like I know the younger she was, I mean, these things would last literally. We'd have so many clothes she could only wear it once, and then by the time she go to wear it again, she was out of it. So we buy these things. We buy the discount cheap things, and guys, we're not in a spot to buy what we want. If you're the person right now who's on unemployment making 4, 8, 12, 1,600 a month, because it averages out that about 400 a week when you add the 5th week in there, because we get 362 or whatever. So if you're the max type of a thing, and that doesn't even cover your mortgage, right? Like you have 3 months right now. If you don't have any savings, you don't have anything. You have 3 months until your home gets foreclosed on, unless you've talked to them and dealt with some things. But if you're not back to work, I mean, chances are you're not going to get back to work in time to catch up on these mortgage things. Right? We're looking at selling houses. We're looking at moving in to a lower income, or a lower price payment type of thing. If you have equity in your house, I mean, we're talking, hey, we're going to take that equity and we're going to put it all down, all down on the next place to have such a small payment type of a thing. Because you're going to get a job. It's not like you're not going to get a job. Jobs are out there. It's just you're going to have to compete with people now to get them. And some people aren't going to make as much. Some people are actually going to probably, if you're the person that's like looking to make more, you're going to.
So we had an appointment today, which brings up the kids thing. They called yesterday to make an appointment for their 3 kids. But they wanted 3 individual appointments because they don't believe in their kids sharing. So my wife explained, well, that's going to be more. And they said it doesn't matter. So she set up an appointment, 3 individuals, which costs $40 more than a group would have. She tells my wife, well, there might be a 4th person we add on tomorrow. So fine. They come in today. And they add on a 4th person, which is the dad. To which my wife says, well, are you going to do it with one of the kids, or do you want your own session as well? He goes, no, I don't share either. So they paid another $30 for that. Now they're up to $120 because nobody shares.
Sure.
And she comes in and she says to my wife at one point, I'm really thankful you were understanding about this because, I think my children should experience everything on their own. Some people don't understand that. And my thought to that is, my wife's like, yeah, that's cool. Whatever you want to do, we're more than happy to accommodate. It's not a big deal. My thought to that is you're teaching these children to be selfish. They now don't want to share with their siblings, which means they're not going to want to share with anybody else either. So basically, you're raising entitled children that probably aren't going to contribute a lot to their society. Okay. I can speak from example. I was pretty entitled when I was growing up. Nick and I grew up way different. I always ate Frosted Flakes. There was no other type of cereal. If my mother had bought it, I would have looked at her and said, I'm not eating that. I don't like it. I don't care what you say it tastes like. It's not Frosted Flakes. If Tony the Tiger ain't on it, I ain't eating it. And that's the way I was raised. Yes, I ate hot dogs because I like hot dogs, not because they were cheap, because I like them. To this day, I still like hot dogs. It's probably the one thing that keeps me from being a vegetarian because I really like hot dogs. I go over to Nick's. We hop in the pool. We got out of the pool. What's the first thing we cook, Nick?
Some hot dogs, man.
Hot dogs. We're having hot dogs tonight. So I always basically got what I asked for. I didn't have to struggle for anything. I remember it was around 99. Somebody said, everybody should live poor when they first get married. And I said, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. That'll never happen to me. And then I got married and I was dirt poor. I was dirt poor. It's probably the best thing that ever happened to me because you know what? I don't have to eat Frosted Flakes anymore. I can eat the cheap stuff.
Damn right.
It doesn't taste the same, but it's pretty damn close. And I learned very quickly what I will and will not sacrifice on. My daughter always had food. My daughter always had presents. I didn't always have food. I remember one Christmas, I got like one thing because That's all Dawn could afford to buy me. Caitlin probably got 10 or 11 things because that's where we put our money.
Yep.
I was perfectly fine with it because she had what she needed. And that's really the point you're at right now. You're poor. You have no money. You need to put it where it needs to go, and that's to your kids.
Yep.
You know, make sure they have what they need.
Let's say food, shelter, right? Those are the two things we're after right now: food and shelter. And if your budget can't, you know, if you were to look at me and say, Nick, I've eaten salad, ramen every day for 30 days, and I haven't done anything else, right? Like I literally, if you show me a whole thing, you know, I'm going to tell you, like, it's time to look at your mortgage or your rent payment. And if you're not living at home, right? Like, you know what? Like, if you can't find a job to get back into, I mean, there's jobs out there like that'll pay you enough to afford $900 a month type of a thing. Like, you know, and it's hard. Trust me, I'm a father. I have a wife that's working, and so now, like, and with school, right? So like, you're not sure if your wife can work, and you're not sure if you can work, and or whatever it is, you know. But there's this point where, you know, because I'm struggling with it, because like I love seeing my wife, I love seeing my kid every day, but it's like I'm not above going to third shift if I absolutely have to, because as long as that third shift lets me out before my wife has to get to work, and I can stay up a little bit. I can stay up a little bit to see my daughter go to school. I'll sleep while my wife's at work. I'll sleep while my kid's at school, and I'll be up to pick her ass up from school or whatever and give her the biggest hug, right? My wife would do the exact same, right? I mean, we're here in this moment to where we're not going to pay for babysitting. We're not going to pay for these types of things. We're not going to pay for the extras, right? I mean, we're trying to cut these things, cut these expenses, cut it, and make sure that our kid has exactly what she needs. So,
you know, and I hear it all the time. Nobody's here helping me. Listen, when we were poor, nobody was helping me. You know, my mom took care of her own stuff. Yeah, once in a while, she bought us groceries, but she never babysat for us ever. If we needed daycare, we needed to find it on our own because it wasn't coming from her. She told us originally, listen, I'm not watching Caitlin. I got my own shit to do. And she went and did her shit, and I found somebody to watch Caitlin. She didn't take a lot of watching. By 9, she was staying home by herself. Dawn was working like 5 minutes from the house. And we trusted her. You know what? It paid off. It was perfectly fine. I wouldn't do that with every kid. But I can trust mine.
And you know, I think that's the thing. It's hard because, you know, every kid is different. I'm the youngest of the four of us, you know, in theory, whatever. And you know, I told my wife, you know, I was like, I remember from a young age, I don't know exactly when it was, right? We stayed home, me and my brother, right? My next oldest one. And we always stay home together type of a thing. There was two of us, and it was a normal thing. Society wasn't as weird as it is today. But we were responsible kids, you know. Even when my mom wasn't home, right? Her rules were when the streetlights are on, your ass is home. You know, now I don't live by streetlights, so I can't hold my kid to that. But my mom always knew that when she went to work or whatever, you know, if she went out and she did whatever, like, we were home, you know. I mean, what, the streetlights came on, and I remember, you know, being like the longest summer day, being the longest, and then you see the streetlight on, and you're like, it's still sunny out, but I better get home. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, that's just cutting expenses. I think, you know, I think it's really funny, you know, David, your mom didn't watch the kid. My mom loves to watch my kid, right? We don't ever call it watching her. You know, I always just, hey, do you want to hang out with the kid? Do you want to spend time with her? Do you want to be a grandma? Like, I don't, there's very limited times where I put hey, no this much sugar, no this much chocolate. Like, because I don't want my mom to ever feel like she's watching my kid. No, they're spending quality time doing whatever the heck they both want to, kind of a thing. Like, you know, it's my job to raise my kid, is my opinion. Like, what you do with her, I hope she gets filled with candy type of a thing. Like, yes, I hope that, you try to cut it, but I'm never going to stop you. So,
Well, and I'll tell you, from my perspective, I think my mother misses the fact that she didn't do those things.
for sure.
Because now she would really like to spend more time with Caitlin, and Caitlin's busy with life.
Yeah, and yep.
And she doesn't get that time anymore, and it's something she really misses. Like my mother, if Caitlin goes down to Plainwell to get an oil change, my mother drops everything to go take Caitlin out to get something to eat.
Sure.
Because now, while you're down here, I want to spend some quality time with you. Well, again, you could have spent that with her when she was 8 or 9, and I needed somebody to watch her for a little bit.
Yeah, and I think, I think that's a big thing. And right now, people, I guess, free time is family time. If you live close, so, my grandparents were the biggest influences. I mean, they were my mom and dad, right? I mean, honestly, my parents were separated, and long story, but my wife, when we were dating, my she would call and she'd go, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm at my grandparents just watching baseball." Like me and grandpa's passed out and I'm getting ready to fall asleep, and she, but that's that's the lifestyle, I guess, that I kind of just had. Like, I enjoy spending time with them, because so again, like your mom, she didn't, Caitlin didn't build that relationship. I built that relationship where it was just, I always tell everybody, like, it's a common thing. My best friends that come over, right? The whole joke when I was a kid was you walk into somebody's house, you open the refrigerator and see what's in there. You don't ever, if you take something cool, if not, whatever, like, it wasn't a big deal. But that was the whole thing. You were at home. You were always welcome. That door was always unlocked, and that's what it is. So there was nothing against it, And now, my wife's parents are completely the opposite, right? Like, call before you come over. Oh no, we can't do this. And I'm sitting here like, this is, these are two. They're trying to make up for different times. So my little YouTube star here. Hold on. So
we're going to Great Grandma Johnson's.
Have fun. But so and they're so yeah, you guys know that we're headed out here in a minute. But we're her parents are completely the opposite. It's not like everybody's just welcome whenever they want kind of a thing. And so it's that relationship that you build and that time that you spend, I think is a big key for sure in lives, right? Especially the grandparents. I say my mom's currently working, but she's working second, so she gets to watch my wife and I work first shift, and she'll watch her on a couple days that we work, or a day a week that that we work together. And she looks at it as I get to spend quality time. I get to spend quality time with my kid. So if you're out there and you have to go to a job interview, right? I find a cheap babysitter that you can trust. There's always areas of people that you can trust. I mean, you have to, if people tell me, oh, I have nobody, right? I always tell everybody, chances are that you're applying for a job to where if you were to say, hey, look, I don't have a job, I don't have any money, and you're asking me to come in for an interview, I need to bring my kid because we can't afford babysitting. That person, honestly, the chances are that company's going to go, bring your kid, right? Like, they're not going to say, oh, if you can't do that. No, like, and if the people say, hey, don't, oh, no, you can't bring your kid to the interview because you don't have anybody, I don't care if you're like new in town or whatever, I'm not saying leave your kid in the car or anything like that, like, bring them. And if they say it, right, that's not the company you work for, right? I mean, there's a million other companies out there. There's so many companies out there that will. So if McDonald's, if you go to that one and say, I have to bring my kid to the interview, and they say, no, that's not going to work, you go to Burger King and you say, hey, I got to bring it. And the one that says, yeah, you can bring your kid to the interview, but you can't bring them to work, that's the company you're like, this is who I got to work for, because they're going to care about you and what you stand for, right? So, right now is a time where everybody has to understand, hey, you're doing what you can for your family, right? And you walk in and say, hey, my husband and I, my husband and I both work this shift. I want to make sure that I'm here for this job. So.
All right. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up now because Nick's got to go to a family event. as always, we hope you got something from this. You know, obviously, start living below your means. That way you can have some more money later. I want to thank Founders for their potential sponsorship. And
That's
if
right.
they won't sponsor, I'll thank Miller Lite for their potential sponsorship.
I don't even know who makes this. I'm going to give Catherine the shout out, though, but Cape Line sparkling cocktails, these things were pretty decent for today. Catherine, thanks for the sponsorship. Whoever these guys are, I'll find out for you guys, and I can't wait for you guys to send us some more, and David can try these things, and we'll make some sponsorship out of this bad boy. So y'all take care. Have a great night.
Yep. Reminder, please like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you next week.
Take care.